If you're a live music fan always on the lookout for the next big sound, CapZeyeZ is your new monthly Thursday night plan. One Thursday a month, CapZeyeZ brings you live original music performances from the coolest unsigned bands, right from the awesome stage at Kick Butt Coffee. From heart-thumping rock to weird indie stuff, Kick Butt Coffee is the home for new and established acts taking the music scene by storm. Tune in, turn up, and turn on the unheard beats of Austin's most promising talents. CapZeyeZ, your front row ticket to music's best-kept secrets. Music is the only truth. Seen weekly on Mondays at 7 p.m. on Austin's public access channel 10.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to CapZeyeZ. I'm Dave, producer of CapZeyeZ, and we're here today with a great band, VAYDRA, from Austin, Texas. If you're just joining us, CapZeyeZ, we've been doing it since a really long time. I won't say because it'll make me older than I am, I swear. But decades. What it is we spotlight Texas music, bands that don't really have other means to get on a TV show or the radio. It's a lot of DIY stuff. So we've been lucky enough to team up with Kick Butt and book a show once a month here. I've been trying to get with VAYDRA for quite a while, and they were kind enough to go, yeah, sure, we'll do the thing. So thank you guys for doing that.
We're happy to be here.
So give me the history of VAYDRA. How did the band become? What's the origin of the band?
Yeah, it's a great question. So VAYDRA began in 2019 in the fall, right before the pandemic. I had moved to Austin from Seattle and taken a job a couple years prior, and I'm a corporate woman, but I've got a creative side, and I needed to do something creative and something that felt really impactful, and I thought, well, I'm in Austin, so I need to just start a band. I had been a singer-songwriter for a long time, pretty informally, and Quentin was my first band member, the first VAYDRA band member in 2019, and we had lots of goals and ambitions about playing shows and writing songs, and then the pandemic happened, and VAYDRA ended up kind of becoming just a really intimate, sweet friend group of people. And we were our own little pandemic cluster for, a few years. And then we had our first show in 2022, February 2022. We had brought on a bassist, Brian, our first Brian that we accumulated. We now have another Brian who plays the drums. So our joke is we collect all of the Brians. And that's kind of the snapshot version of I started a band. Quentin was a founding member. 2019, pandemic happened. We just all became really good friends, and now we have the honor and privilege of performing in public.
we started in 2019, and really through music, we were able to kind of get through, this dark times together. And so I think it's just something, just music in general, just really brings a light. And,
I
helps.
Absolutely. I think also starting a band as the pandemic was happening really put into perspective our own goals and values as a band. I mean, I see Quentin, Brian, and Brian, I see the entire band as really talented musicians, but I kind of see that as a secondary thing because I see these guys as brothers. They're very, very close friends to me, and I really feel like we bring that sort of attitude when we play music, when we record music, and it's something that I hope that people pick up on, is that, we're kind, compassionate people first who just want to make a difference in the community through our art, and there's no ego involved. And I think, playing music just as friends in the pandemic really grounded us to that sort of attitude.
And did it change your aspect coming from a singer-songwriter aspect where it's all really super personal, super you? Now you're surrounded by like-minded people. How has that changed what you do?
I love that question because I think it really speaks to the vulnerability of songwriting and the importance of surrounding yourself with people who are safe and supportive, not only as people, but also as co-creators. I have been so blessed and fortunate to be able to write songs and bear my heart through what I'm writing. And then I take it to these guys who are just phenomenal musicians, and they get the direction I'm going in, and they're able to hold space for those emotions and those concepts, and then they build on it and they deepen it and create such a sense of empowerment. And that's the goal.
From the beginning, Kelly has, she had several songs that she'd already had, written, and that we learned. And from the beginning, she's been very open and was like, hey, I have this structure and I want y'all to help build on it. Mm-hmm. And so from the beginning, it's been very open, collaborative attitude, which I think is absolutely core to not only music, but just to the way that we write songs together now. It's not, this is what it is, learn the parts. It's, this is the structure, this is the idea, and everybody brings their own experience to it,
Sure.
Yeah.
between the trees. That's where I'll be when I dream, when I smoke too much. I won't speak love, did you know that it's easier to let it go than it is just to wait for it to go away? Over time, the resentment will erode your heart, and only you'll be left to blame.
You are a four-piece, but each of the band members and yourself, like you're bringing in layers that seem so much deeper than like four people on that stage.
Oh, neat.
And
Glad to
you're
hear that.
playing, you know, a big part of that. What are some of your influences? How did you come to the sound that you're doing?
Sure. So I will say, like, the thing with smaller number of people versus, you know, bigger number of people, just in general, sonically, it gives you a lot of room, the less people that you have up there to create space.
Yeah.
You know, the more people you have up, as you add more instrumentation, it really starts to not pigeonhole, but it's like everybody kind of has their own part to play, right? Whereas in this band, everybody kind of has space. We create a lot of space that people can kind of play their parts. Where I have kind of gotten some of my influences. Originally, I'm a prog guy, so Rush was like a super big influence in general. Things like Dream Theater, but from kind of the more ethereal side, I think about a lot of like synth heavy bands like Boards of Canada, that and like Tycho, like that kind of sound. And that's kind of where I've like, I want my guitar to be more than just a guitar in the band. I want it to fill this kind of like space and just like give a lot of ambient vibes to things, right?
I think you've accomplished that, and it makes a big difference in the sound. So that is a real good thing to hear live. VAYDRA plays around town, I guess it would be safe to say. Do you have a logic about where you play, when you play? What's your strategy for getting out and spreading this sound?
I think that generally speaking, we want to play in places that align with our intention and with our values. We are not a band that is led by ego. We don't need to be playing the most reputable, prestigious venues in town to hundreds and hundreds of people. Certainly that would be nice, right? But our approach really is, this music is meant to reach the people who need it. And I feel like I've done my job if one person hears one song and it touches their heart. And so when we're looking for gigs, we're talking with our network. We have a lot of really strong friendships and connections in town. And we're really just trying to play as much as we can in places that will foster, an appreciation for our sound and have sometimes, built-in audiences. I enjoy being in a place where nobody came to see us and then everybody stays for the show, right? So that's important to me.
Time has not touched your skin, but it's touched your eyes, and I feel your heart in syncopated rhythms. That I cannot give you.
guys laid the foundation, you opened up the night, and like everyone around were in somewhat different types of bands, but everybody was like, hey, you know, they were so into what y'all were doing. I've had compliments from the bands that were there that night on your sound. And,
that's a great point, Dave, because as far as, you know, our criteria for the shows we pick and the venues we play, we do not pigeonhole ourselves into specific genres. We play with all sorts of different genres of bands, and you know, we'll play harder rock lineups, we'll play more folksy acoustic lineups, and I think that there's always the common thread that we're playing with people who have a heart for people and a heart for music, and that cuts across genre. We've always played in phenomenal lineups and been able to network with musicians who share our compassion and our empathy for performance. And like I said, that just, it's not a genre specific attitude. And so we look at venues, we look at other bands to partner with that can really bring that show. Brian, our bass player, is a great example of this. Brian has a large background in, you know, heavier rock music. He owns a couple tattoo shops in town. Aesthetically, he doesn't look like somebody that, you know, wants to listen to this lush, ambient, emotional music, but he loves that stuff. And a lot of people do. And so I think we speak to that, that part of people's heart.
It's important not to judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm with Brian on that. You'd be amazed at my music library.
Exactly.
You would be like, oh.
Yes.
So, yeah, you know, for instance, I love Broadway. And, you know, like,
it's a great example.
So much great stuff in there.
Yeah.
So.
So he left his home, made a beeline for the west coast, and I followed him there to find his ghost. I followed him there to find my
If you guys are just tuning in, you're watching CapZeyeZ, and we're here with Kelly and Quentin from VAYDRA, Austin Act, based out of Austin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're missing Brian Squared. Brian.
Yeah, Brian Squared.
Brian, yeah.
So, but if you get a chance to catch them live, I definitely suggest doing it. They put on a great show. As far as if we don't catch you live, music online, or
Yes.
how else do we hear the band?
Yeah, we're on Spotify, Apple Music. I mean, all the major streaming services. You'll find us.
Yes, and we're in the studio now, so we'll be rolling out at least 4 more songs in the fall across all streaming services, and we're super excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people these days, due to the shift in music, not only being an avenue for passion and an avenue for income and revenue, that last part has been shifted away. So with these new recordings, are you guys looking to go at it a single at a time, an EP? What is, again, a strategy for releasing music for folks to hear?
So I think, our first strategy was to get all the songs that we had at the time recorded, for the initial album that we put out a couple of years ago. But I think, now it's like we had a few songs ready to go. And so then it's like, I think we're probably going to go more the EP route of like, hey, we have these songs ready to go record them, get them mixed and mastered, and then put out a content schedule, So,
Yeah, I also personally approach what songs we're focusing on, which little clusters we release, whether it's EP style or full album style. I'm always thinking about what's the chapter, what's the storytelling that we're putting out with this chunk of songs. I'm really, really committed to creating eras of songwriting that are all interconnected by a theme. We're in the studio working on this next set of 4, and I'm already thinking about the next set of songs that we're in progress on, and kind of what's the message here? What's the literary theme almost?
yeah.
I've always been one, just based on the generations I grew up in, that was about hearing an album from front to back.
Yeah.
And I even love, side A, side B logic.
Yep.
And I still love the albums when I can get them. And, even if it was to just have the art.
Yes.
I'm probably as guilty as anybody in listening to music today, as while I do have a cassette deck and I do have a vinyl player, I think I'd have to struggle to find a CD player.
Yep.
And when I listen to music, it is online. So that's created a whole nother, as we briefly mentioned earlier, dynamic in music makers' life, to where you can't really expect to profit a whole lot on the sale of your music until maybe some fancy label gets behind it, producers, etc. So as a band, has that become at all challenging? I'm thinking with the logic that you have, because it's about spiritual, it's about connection with you guys, that's probably a very small piece of your concern.
It is.
But how does that affect what you're doing, and do you profit from merch? Like, what's the out to pay gas at least for your time?
I mean, it's most of our income or revenue comes from playing live, and that's really it. I mean, you don't see much money at all come from the music that we stream, or even people that buy the albums on Apple Music. Pennies comparatively, right? So it's all done through tips and through playing live.
Waiting on me.
So all four of us in the band, we don't rely on VAYDRA for our primary income. So, that's kind of its own blessing and curse, right? Means our attention is split, but it also means that when we do play music, which is frequently, it's very intentional, but it also gives us the space to take anything and everything we're getting from shows and we pour it right back into VAYDRA.
Right.
So we're not making a profit. We fund our studio time, our mixing, our mastering, all the things, our gas. We fund it through shows.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. It's definitely a tough thing, especially if you want to get out of town.
Yes.
Do you end up playing outside of Austin?
We haven't. No.
Yeah.
No, not yet. But,
Yeah, I think we may have done a suburb or two, but we're trying to get a little bit closer to Waco because that's where our drummer lives.
Yes.
So he commutes to play music with us at least once a week from Waco. Yeah.
It's not a friendly drive.
It's not a friendly drive. I'm very humbled and thankful for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the future for VAYDRA, you said you're working on a handful of songs. Is there anything you have focused, in the plan moving forward for the band?
Yeah, so we're going to release our next batch of songs in the fall, be about 4 of them, and as far as short-term future, it's going to be playing shows to promote those songs. As far as long-term goals for VAYDRA, our goals are just to continue showing up to the work that we're doing for the community. We just want to continue creating music, touching people with this music, and getting it in front of as many people as we can. That's my goal. I would love at some point for us to be potentially signed to even a local label just to get a little bit of help and support in things like digital marketing, social media marketing, because to your earlier question, that is such a large component of being a musician these days. And quite frankly, I hate it. I hate it, and it shows because our social media presence isn't fantastic, and I'm the one trying to, create content for it, and I'm bad at it. And part of that is back to what we were talking about earlier. I don't have an ego in this. None of these guys have an ego in this. We don't see ourselves as icons or divas of this music. We see the music as the product, not us. And so I think as far as, future plans go, we're going to continue doing our thing, recording our music, playing shows with venues and bands that align with our values, and continue trying to reach as many folks as we can.
I think before we go, I wanted to ask you a little bit about this type of philosophy and things of that nature with your music being so personal, having a message, and it's definitely the impetus for what you do is the music. Is it important to you that the message you have in writing and delivering this music conveys exactly as you had it to the listener?
Ooh.
Or is this kind of a brush you paint with and someone looks at the cloud and goes, I see an elephant, well, I see a tree? Is it, interpretation of this stuff? How do you feel about that?
It's definitely the latter, Dave. I see us as conduits of something greater. And I'm a very spiritual person, and what's so interesting is each member of VAYDRA has their own spiritual or religious background or philosophies, and I feel like we're pretty diverse in that, actually, but we meet at such a core element and intention, which is we use music as a space for healing. And personally, I believe that I may have an intention, I may have a message through my music, but ultimately what I believe is if the music is touching your heart, then you're going to be taking the message that you need to hear.
I appreciate you guys taking time to sit with me on CapZeyeZ today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. VAYDRA is the band. If you are just tuning in again, go ahead and hit rewind. We love that you're tuning in. That's the bottom line. If you are in a band, you can reach me at davetv.org to get on the show. We do book shows at Kick Butt once a month, and we turn those into programs like you're watching today. Quite an archive on the YouTube. I've been doing this, 3 decades-ish. So there's a lot of footage up there, and I'm really happy to add VAYDRA to the list of folks.
Yeah, we're so honored.
Anything
you so much.
Want to say, parting words to folks? Any closers we haven't covered?
I think just maybe if you are interested in learning more about VAYDRA or connecting with us, you can find us on Instagram at VAYDRA_music. We also are online at VAYDRAmusic.com. We're on Facebook. And you spell our name VAYDRA, but I'm sure that's in the description on your YouTube as well.
Well, thanks again, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Check them out, VAYDRA.